Alright, hi everybody. Welcome to another late night stream. I'm continuing my playthrough of U-Boat, the submarine simulation, where you slip into the role of a Second World War German submarine commander. And yeah, let me keep my little introduction speech pretty brief tonight. So we are continuing what we started yesterday. Yesterday we sank 3 ships, but up to now we only got accounted for 2 of them, and the big baby, the tanker, we do not yet have in the list to have sunk it. So there might be a bug, like Colin suspected on the YouTube chat. Well, it would be very rare, but it could be, or well, maybe we just have to wait out the pursuit of all these escorts going after us, and when they have passed by, get back to the surface and check the sinking site. Yeah, as I said, let me keep my introduction brief. I'm doing a complete playthrough, having started at the very beginning of the war in September 39. So you see we are almost 4 years into the war by now. It is early August 43, and yeah, we have gone through a lot of adventures. All that time I have been streaming every single mission over the last year in real life, and yeah, here we are. And yeah, I think we are a nice little community, and thanks a lot for you guys who are regularly watching my stream and participating in the chat. And of course also welcome to all you guys on YouTube. After the stream I upload this one to YouTube. It's just, yeah, for technical reason, my Streamlabs desktop seems not to be able to route 2 streams at the same time. I tried that several times, but the servers seem not to be able to take it. So I went back to only single streaming to my good old Twitch community, and the stream is going to be uploaded afterwards to YouTube. So guys, let's get back. There is a lot of ships cruising above us. By the way, we are almost through. It's just 9,000 tons missing, separating us from having finished the Arctic Convoys mission set. And as I said, there is one 14,000 tons tanker which we actually did sink, and for some reason didn't yet get accounted for. Did sink it here, so maybe we get the opportunity later to check the sinking site. Now let's get into the game, and there is still the convoy passing by above us, and 3, 4, 5, 6 escorts trying to chase us down. So at the moment engine stopped, we are at 200 meters, almost 200 meters. Discipline is pretty alright. Oxygen level is okay, battery capacity is perfectly fine. Yeah, the diesel is running low, but if we escape from this one here alive, this should well bring us back home to our recent home port, Bergen. Quite a bit of water in the bilge, but right down here, turning on the pump doesn't help much, because against that enormous pressure outside the pump does not, get anything done. If I am not that deep, I often just turn on the pump as soon as they are dropping depth charges, because then the noise would not give away my position anyway. Galley is fine, but as we are on battle station, the galley is cold. So alarm enabled, silent running enabled, and the bulkheads are closed. Dive planes are to manual, which means that the noisy electric servos are turned off, the gyro compass is turned off. The crew is ordered to be silent, so everything is maximum silence, particularly when we don't even run the engine. We have fired 9 torpedoes in total, 7 hits actually, having sunk 3 ships, and as I said, it was 2 C3, and we got them both accounted for, and we also sank 1 T2 tanker, but it doesn't yet show up there as being accounted for as a kill. Yeah, well, still lots of stuff going on up there. And there is definitely enemies closing in again. Maybe let me show you a little bit of what's going on up there. With the cinematic view, we are deep 200 meters. And there is still plenty of ships circling above our heads. Look at these guys astern. And that guy is coming in. That guy might be just passing by right above us. Let's just hope that he didn't drop. Neither depth charges nor hedgehogs. I wish I could accelerate time, but in this situation that's so deadly. Yeah, they are still actively chasing for us, searching for us. One ping. This seabed is said to be 400 to 500 meters deep on the map, which means when we are at 200 meters we might still have 200 or 300 meters underneath us. So if we would start dropping, sinking, there would be no seabed to stop us from getting into crushing depth. us again. Oh my god. Up to now we were lucky, they didn't score any close hits. Yet. Yeah. Hear the creaking of the hull, they are dropping depth charges. Let's go flank speed and change course by 90 degrees, just in case. I didn't hear anything, but the crew said they were dropping.
Aktuelle Tiefe 195 Meter.
Okay. Somebody turn on the pump. Show me if this makes any difference. 170. Yeah, now we are getting more water in via leaking gaskets. When the engines are running flank speed, we get a lot of water in, seeping through the drive shaft gaskets, more than we actually can get out with the pump. And the performance is decreased. Wow, yeah, look, we only have 3% of power of performance of the pump down here. We are just too deep to have the pump work properly. I don't like that. We're just taking too much water. Guys, turn off the pump. Who's gonna do that?
195 Meter. Lenzpumpe ausschalten. Wasser. Beträchtliche Entfernung.
Thank you. Now that we stop the engines, we are not making water anymore. Yeah, but 180 liters, that starts to worry me. New stream, let's give it a new save. W383. Again. How long will it take until they give up? Good thing is that they seem to be dropping depth charge somewhere else. Maybe they are chasing for another German submarine. Or they are just randomly dropping because they don't know where I am. Yeah. Is this still a... That's still a merchantman. The last one trailing behind. Seems to be pretty slow. That's weird. The guy is actually trailing so far behind the whole convoy. at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 escort ships chasing us. Not good. Not good at all. So many of them. Propeller noise right above us. Are they dropping? That ship was passing by right above us, and it looks like they didn't detect us. But there are more ships closing in, passing by. Overhead. I think I've never had so many escorts going after me at the same time ever in the game. The whole convoy must be blank of escort.
190 Meter.
Or do they have so many resources? Another submarine at 100 degrees, they say. So, hydrophone. Loads of ships around. I wish I could get a bit of the water out of the bilge, but turning on the pump that deep just doesn't have any effect. Oxygen level below 80% by now.
Aber keine Panik. Wir machen das schon.
Yeah, the water is starting to already rise above the floor. Ping, ping. There is 10, 12 ships circling there above. One other German submarine was already sunk. Listen, the sound is getting, faster. I think there is a ship passing by right above us. Hi, Colin. Good evening. Just before the stream, I read your comment on YouTube, and yeah, you might be right that we ran into a bug here. I still have hope because I had it once in the past that a sunk ship only was registered when I went to the site of the sinking later on. But what you described pretty much also hints towards a bug. Let's see. Fingers crossed. Would be a pity to have sunk a tanker and not get accounted for it. And this is exactly what would bring us across the finish line of the whole Arctic Convoy mission set. By the way, Colin, how was your Monday? How was your start into the week? Here we are with 180 liters of water in the bilge. And 77% of air quality still left. Yeah, okay. Maybe it's the weather. Well, but around here the weather was pretty alright. It has been getting cold the last days again, but yeah, it was at least sunny. But to be honest, I didn't leave home today. I spent most of the day at my desk working. And the evening in front of our TV with the family. Yeah, we still have both stern torpedoes. Of course unmaintained, because we don't do maintenance while silent running. Yeah, right. Same for me. Oh. Let's go flank. They're dropping depth charges. Let's just try to maneuver ourselves away. I'm not quite sure whether it makes sense to move. With all that noise going on up there, I really can hardly believe that they hear us down here. Again, and still dropping. Yeah, there is so many escort ships up there. They have a lot of depth charges to spend. these explosions are not too close, but that could change rapidly. As long as they are still exploding, there's not much of a chance for them to actually find us. Engine stopped. Propellers right above us, but as long as they don't drop anything upon us, we can live with it.
Meter. Meter.
195 meters, he said. We are getting pinged. I wish we could go to something like 150 meters. At 150 meters, at least we could turn on the pump so that we get rid of a bit of the water. But at the moment, having all these, something like more than 10 ships circling above, I just don't dare to go up to 150 meters. Yeah, at the moment I do have the feeling that they just, are doing lucky shots and have no real idea where I am. So if I would start maneuvering, I might even make them get my position better. That's my fear, and particularly if I would drop a decoy, I would maybe more attract their attention than distract it. Okay, now we hear a high-speed ship closing in. This pretty much sounds like there is a destroyer passing by right above us. And I would expect that he's gonna drop depth charges. They're so noisy. $200 in the bilge. a little look through our cinematic camera. We're being pinged again. Okay, look at that guy. Now they try that trick. Staying there in complete silence. And that guy is finally passing by. And all of them just waiting there. And there is even more ships. Who are you? Maybe they are going for that other... Hey, come on. What an enormous traffic around here. And what is this guy actually doing? What is this guy doing? He seems to be going completely random. That's the... Where is the convoy? The convoys go in that direction. Come on, guys, give it up. Yeah, that's the two ships that we did sink. The lifeboat's still there. And there should be another one somewhere. I think they also disbanded the ship, so there should be a third patch of lifeboats. This looks weird. What is this merchant man doing there? Why is he not following the path of his colleagues? Yeah, of course. There is some truth in what you say, Colin. But now that the convoy has passed by, I still hope that I could wait it out. Yeah, that looks like they had a crash up there. Yeah, as long as I don't have my drive shaft turning, I don't take any fresh water anyway, at least, so only when I start turning on the propeller. There is more water coming in, seeping along the gaskets of the drive shaft. Mr. Arles needs some coffee soon, probably. Mr. Strauss again. I gave him already 2 cups of coffee some time ago. Let's give it a try. What happens if I silently lift to a depth of 150? Yes, Yeah, it would be great if they would have a few crashes and sink each other.
Aktuelle Tiefe 185 Meter.
I'll drop a few depth charts in the way of each other. Or, well, best probably
175
would
Meter.
be if they were firing a few hedgehogs accidentally towards each other. Now that we rise, at one point the pump,
50 Meter.
yeah, see, no. Efficiency of the pump has been rising to 20% from 4%. So that really makes a difference.
Aktuelle Tiefe 155 Meter.
Yeah, it would. So 25% of pump efficiency back. So there is all this hurly-burly going on up there. I wonder if they would hear just anything
45 Meter.
if I were turning on the pump right now. Propellers, yeah. Plenty of propellers. And air quality is going down. That sounds like a distinct ship closing in, isn't it? So when I get the next time a message that somebody's passing by right above our heads, I will turn on the pump and see that I get a bit of the water out. Okay, there is a propeller speeding up. What do you think? With all this noise going on up there, would it make any difference if I would turn on the pump right now? Would they even hear me if I go flank speed? So no. There is an escort coming in at high speed.
E-Motoren besetzen.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Jawohl, ich kümmere mich drum.
Großraum besetzen.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Jawohl, ich kümmere mich drum.
Yeah, it was just 6 o'clock in the evening. That was the change of watch. This is why I had to rearrange a few things.
E-Motoren besetzen.
Yeah, let's use our endlessly prolonged periscope, or let's call it cinematic view. Okay. Looks like they're just waiting it out. This guy passing by, they might be passing by right above us at the moment. And they are just lurking there on the surface, but when are they gonna give up? These two guys should be passing by overhead, right above us.
Lenzpumpe einschalten.
Come on, let's try that. They can't hear anything with all this noise of their own propellers. Now we get a bit of water out. Yeah, down to 160 liters. We were at 200 and a bit. There is somebody coming in, closing in fast. That guy might prepare to drop depth charges. Some distance away. Depth charge some distance away. Now we are less than 100 liters.
140 Meter.
That sounds pretty threatening.
Meter. Schraubengeräusche direkt über uns.
Propellers right above us. Let's see if they're gonna drop.
Meter.
Wow, they stopped the engines. The bilge is dry, nice, so please turn off the pump.
Tauchen auf. 180 Meter.
So let's get down again to be on the safe side. I actually just went to 150 meters to make the pump work. Down at 200 meters the pump efficiency is in principle 0, so you don't get any water out of the bilge when you're at depths below something like 160 meters. Against that enormous pressure. That was why I was going up. Let's now hope that, yeah, diving takes ages.
Meter.
Yeah, if you're not diving dynamically, it does take ages, and that's realistic. If I were going flank speed, of course, I could use the dynamic diving with the dive planes, but at the moment we've stopped. So we could just play around with the ballast. So the game is pretty detailed, but not that detailed. So whenever you change your depth without using dynamic diving, you should use up a bit of compressed air, because it means to let some ballast tanks being flood a bit and getting water out again. So there is somebody closing in fast again. And we are pinged. Depth charge some distance away. That's at least reassuring to hear. But they are going for another German submarine. Fingers crossed that they don't get him.
Aktuelle Tiefe 165 Meter.
Yeah, we are slowly going back down to 180 meters. And here you see the pump efficiency is now getting reduced again. While before we had something like 25 or 28% of pump efficiency, now it's less than 20, down to 18. Because of the increasing outside pressure when we get deeper. The pump just wouldn't work against that enormous outside pressure anymore. Shall we give it a save? Okay, at least it looks like they have started moving again. But still plenty of ships. And that's the convoy. Maybe these guys are depth charging another submarine. And that must be the convoy. So guys, wouldn't you like to get back to your convoy and leave me alone? Would have been nice to sink that guy. So many still. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever, 12, still So many ships chasing us. Don't they have anything better to do than hanging around here? Air quality is still above 70%. Maybe I should give these guys another cup of coffee. Mr. Owls as well. Okay, propellers right above us. Let's see if they're gonna drop. No, they didn't, and now the sound fades away again.
Aktuelle Tiefe 170 Meter.
There is another one closing in.
Meter.
There is another one closing in. Propellers right above us. So now everybody be alert as soon as we hear any indication that they start dropping depth charts, we are going flank speed. But right now it sounds like they're just passing by overhead. And not knowing that we are down here. At least not knowing that we are exactly right down here at that position. Sounds like another one closing in.
Aktuelle Tiefe 170 Meter.
Yeah, I really think they have lost track on us, but they are not giving up. They are just not giving up the search. Okay, that looks good at the moment. Nobody being too close. Maybe they are kind of spreading and losing track on us. There we have a very faint moon in the sky. Let's keep fingers crossed that we might get rid of them like that. Mr. Henrich, please. What about the hydrophone contacts? Moving away. That one is the closest at the moment, which is 5 cables, half a mile.
Herr Kapitän? Herr Kapitän?
That might actually be the ship that we sank. Yeah, it looks good at the moment. Looks like they might sooner or later abandon. Let's just hope that they don't get our position back. So what I always hear in submarine simulations is that, or also in the movies, is that there are layers of different temperature at different depths, and that when you pass through a change of temperature, so you have 2 layers of different temperature and you put yourself right underneath the interface, that this would reduce their sonar efficiency. Only point is that we don't have a thermometer. And I don't know if they would have had something like that, but it wouldn't be too much of a technological challenge to implement a temperature gauge, which might indicate if we have, while changing depth, significant changes of temperature of the outside seawater. So this is something that, I don't know, sounds to me would be pretty logical, but I think never ever any Second World War submarine sim that I have been playing had something like that. A temperature gauge for the outside water temperature. If I remember back, I think not even Cold Waters had something like that in a consistent way. But I could be wrong. Maybe they had it. Yeah, that was not Second World War, but Cold War. Submarine warfare. So look at that. We are not getting pinged at the moment. Let's hope that it keeps like that. Are they spreading? Oh, there is a guy, which is pretty close again. Yeah, they are still cruising. Okay, depth charts. Yeah, they are still going for another German submarine somewhere. Okay, that guy passed by pretty close again. This guy as well. Who is actually dropping depth charges at the moment? There. What is this? Yeah. That's exploding depth charges. Yeah, I like this kind of graphics. So they are obviously chasing another submarine around here. Fingers crossed that they don't get these guys. Yeah, they're still hunting. But they didn't yet give up. They're just not going after me. Because they are chasing for that other guy. I think I didn't yet get finally rid of them. Yes, yeah, Colin, that's right. It had that thermal layer concept implemented. It was just like, I think it wasn't pretty straightforward to actually detect these thermal layers. Wasn't it like that you got a report from an officer telling you that you were passing through a thermal layer, but I think it was not like that. You could just see it by the reading of a temperature gauge or something. Yes, yeah. Of course, cold waters, it's in the 60s. I think. But, well, I mean, wouldn't that also have been relevant already in World War II? I mean, the thermal slayer you would still have, and I think it's pretty straightforward to imagine. Oh, what a pity. I thought we were getting rid of them. It's pretty straightforward to imagine that a change in temperature would kind of deflect a sonar. I mean, it's just like a ray of light hitting a sheet of glass. So, of course, glass is transparent, but still the change of the refractive index would make a bit of the light being reflected. And so if the sonar ray, let me call it like that, hits this interface between two different layers, it's also different propagation speed for the sound signal of the sonar, and some of it would be deflected. And, well, I mean, that might also have implied, might have worked already back then. And, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Can't believe that they wouldn't have had that theory and concept already in the Second World War. But I'm definitely not an expert in these things historically. But it would be interesting to put some research into that question, whether or not thermal layers were kind of playing a role in Second World War U-boat warfare. Yep, and that's right. It is in cold waters. And yeah, I've been playing cold waters for a little while, but it just didn't catch me. I really didn't dig it. I kind of like the concept, but playing it, didn't work for me. Too technical, I mean. Pretty different than a U-boat. Yeah, Wolfpack is doing nice streams. I like him. But that's a bit of a disappointment that we are regularly being pinged again. I thought that we might have been gotten rid of them following us. But obviously not. Obviously not. Oh no, this guy is closing in again. Come on, guys, just leave me alone. Closing in, closing in. Yeah, come on. Give me your worst. Still a bit less than 9,000 tons missing to finally fulfill the Arctic Convoys. Mission set. Yeah, propeller detected. Yep. That guy is closing in. This one as well. Oh wow. But he is passing by a bit ahead of us. This one. But that one, that might... Yeah. So let's listen if they are dropping depth charges. Let's just hope that they don't call in all the other guys again. Could well be. Could well be. Sooner or later I'm gonna run out of coffee. And my crew, my officers would just not be able to keep up their duties anymore. I'm submerged now since quite some time. Air quality below 70%. At the moment we are at 160 meters, roughly.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Alles klar, ich werde mich darum kümmern.
Schraubengeräusche direkt über uns.
Yeah, propeller noise right above us. Yeah, it seems like they're not dropping anymore. So guys, if you don't have any depth charge left, why don't you just leave me alone?
Kommandant, feindliche Schiffe machen sich gefechtsbereit.
Bleibt wachsam, aber keine Panik. Wir machen das schon.
Again being pinged. Come on, guys, sooner or later you have to carry on. You can't leave your convoy alone. The convoy's moving on, so please do the same. Oh, Come on, they're still around. And even more again. They're coming back in. They are... Come on! Leave me alone, guys. Is this guy not moving at the moment? Yeah. What you? Yeah, he is moving. Please, leave me alone. Follow your convoy. You have a schedule. In total, I have 4 sound-seeking torpedoes, but yeah, it just doesn't make sense to try to sink these. They don't account for tonnage. So that that tanker that I sank must have been somewhere over there. There might be something. There might be something, I don't know. There in the center of the screen. I wish we could put ourselves just onto the seabed. But yeah, since now the enemy uses hedgehogs, putting yourself onto the seabed is even more risky. Pinged again. What if we go deeper? Maybe I should send some of the guys to bed. Take a rest. Could I do that while they're on alarm? I think I can't. Yeah, okay, while being on alarm you can't. What sense does it make to assign one of the officers the job of a medic? How deep could we actually go?
Aktuelle Tiefe 185 Meter. Tauchen auf 210 Meter.
Let's go for 210.
Meter.
Yeah, that really stresses the crew. To be that deep for such a long time.
Aktuelle Tiefe 185 Meter.
Yeah, sounds like they're still circling upon or above our heads, but not going straight across us. Pump efficiency reduced to 5%. Ah, come on, guys. We are pinged again.
Aktuelle Tiefe 195 Meter.
is a guy coming in. And they're still around. How long are they planning to be around? Don't you have to care for your escort, for your convoy? How long? I think I've never had it that long. Well, I think once I had it, yeah. But usually they give up after a while and join their convoy again. But these guys seem to be not in a hurry to get back to their convoy. Maybe they have sufficient resources, an enormous number of escorts joining that convoy. Okay, 280 he got, all right. Oh. They are firing depth charges. Let's go flank and change course. Oh man, fingers crossed that they don't get us. They are still dropping. They still have depth charges on board. Not running out of ammo, and they are relatively close. Wow, not good, not good. That's far closer than I would like to have. Yes, let's do that. You're right, Mr. Schultz. Would you be so kind and launch a decoy? Problem is that takes a little while. Mr. Schultz, where are you? He doesn't do it. Okay, I don't know why. Okay, I think now the moment in time is over where it would have made sense. Just didn't do it. Let's stop it again. Okay, 0% of pump efficiency down here. Now we are below 200 meters. How much water did we get? By... No, don't. Mr. Schultz. No! Mr. Schultz. Okay, again. So let's wait if they're gonna drop depth charges again. Maybe let's save the game once more. W385. Okay, 27 liters in the bilge. Okay, sometimes it doesn't work. I had that already. I ordered the ventilation to start and it wasn't started, and now I ordered a pill to be thrown, to be launched, and it didn't work. Yeah, well, of course, you could say it's fog of war.
Aktuelle Tiefe 195 Meter.
That was again a lot of stuff that they dropped upon us. Loads of depth charge volleys. Yeah, I did it in the past with the decoys, and when I ordered him to drop the decoy, he actually just went to the stores, picked it up, and then dropped it into the pill launcher. It did work in the past, but yeah, this time it didn't. Still so many ships around.
Rauchgeräusche direkt unter uns.
Yes. So shall I.
Ja, Herr Convoy, ich kümmere mich darum.
You mean going backwards? Why is this open?
Geräusche, mittlere Gruppe, Peilung 280 Grad.
Yeah, please keep the hatches closed. Alright, it works. Yeah, what would you think? What would it help to go backwards? You mean for getting away sneakily? And get some distance between their search pattern and us. Yep. But my gut feeling tells me that they would kind of follow us because they still have some now and then get some reading of our position. Yeah. Well, my experience is pretty alright with this technique of going flank speed forward and then changing course for 90 degrees. I don't know, I somehow have a bad feeling about reversing because to me it feels a bit like I would then steer the boat right into the shower of depth charges coming down. Let's check the hydrophone. Which contacts do we have at the moment? Sinking ships? Okay, they still say that there is sinking ships. So maybe there is still hope that I get accounted for the sinking of that tanker. If I survive. Or are we getting pinged again? Close, close. 2, 3, 4, 4 ships. 4 are very close. A 5th one rather close. What's actually the key which unselects? This is something that I was always looking for. Which key do I have to press to unselect one of all of the offices? Keyboard, yeah, that's it.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloy?
No idea how to unselect the guys. I always do it like just clicking anywhere. But would be more comfortable if I would actually have a key. I'm playing the game now since maybe 10 years almost. And this I never found out. Yeah, is it that the sound of the propellers has been flattening down a bit? %63% of air quality. And the discipline is going down, but still above 90%. Mr. Schultz. By the way, what's our navigation precision? It's still high, so we don't need any navigation right now. Please, Mr. Schultz, attend to your duties as a line officer. Propellers. But at the moment it looks like it's only 5 ships and not at 12 anymore, circling above our heads. But I still fear that it is possible that the others return. Yeah, I don't quite see the point in dropping a decoy in such a situation here, actually. So it pretty much looks like they have problems in detecting us, so I can at the moment avoid their depth charge volleys. And dropping the decoy, well, I would fear that this would just attract their attention towards me. Because at least as soon as I drop it, it will start to make noise pretty close to myself until I get some distance between the decoy and me. Yeah, so generally I'm not quite sure if the decoy does make much sense in the game. Because, yeah, it still just wouldn't allow you to get way out of their detection range. So you drop the decoy. It would just make them maybe waste some ammunition on them. Yeah, okay, I mean, that would be a good reason to do it. But at the moment, my major concern is not their depth charge volleys, but just they're not going away, forcing me to stay down here. So it is in game 7 o'clock in the evening. I'm not sure when I start the attack. But yeah, it's hours ago.
Herr Kapitän.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, at least 5 ships around. That signal doesn't make sense. There is definitely no 24 ships around. You always now and then get readings which really don't make sense. But maybe that's not a bug, but a feature. Okay, one guy closing in. Again. Let's take a little cinematic look again. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7 over there. Ah, come on, still so many ships circling. And they're just not leaving me alone. But, well, I could put it into a positive point of view. It's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by now. But what are these guys doing there? Pretty much of the risk that they might also join the chase on me when they have finished their chase on whatever they are chasing here. Seems like that they have a lot of time to spend. And still pinging us. We're just not being able to shake them off our tail. They must run out of depth charges. I mean, it's a lot of ships, but they have dropped so many depth charges on my head in the last hours. They must be running short on them.
Kommandant, wir wurden entdeckt.
Yeah, I guess.
Wissen, wie es geht. Drehen wir den Spieß gegen diese Jäger um.
Can't sit around here forever, yes. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I would change my course and see what happens if I go for the sinking ship there. Yeah, can't sit around here forever. Yeah, come on, let's go. Kleine Fahrt. Let's.
Auf 195 Meter. Tauchen auf 200 Meter.
Let's go slow speed and see if we can sneakily move away underneath them without them following us.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Quality 60, so sooner or later
190 Meter.
it would make sense to turn on the ventilation again and to filter our air a bit via the potassium filters. So, to be honest, I couldn't explain right away what's going on in the potassium filters chemically. My imagination is that it kind of absorbs the carbon dioxide in the air, but does it also release oxygen instead? Reducing the carbon dioxide and increasing the oxygen level in the air again. I have to check that once. I mean, not right now during the game, but maybe I'm gonna check it tomorrow. Never did that. Or if maybe anybody of you guys in the chat knows how the potassium filters are actually working, so what is chemically going on when our used air is pushed through the potassium filters. I think just absorbing carbon dioxide would not be sufficient. Or maybe it transforms. Might well be that it kind of separates. That it kind of absorbs just the carbon and releases the oxide again. Yeah, we are slowly turning. Of course, we are just going 3 knots, which is slow. Oh, yes. We are getting pinged again.
Kommandant, wir wurden entdeckt.
Yeah.
Konzentriert euch.
As long as they're not dropping. And they haven't been firing hedgehogs on us since 1, 2, or 3 hours. So maybe they actually ran out of hedgehogs, or at least the ships up there don't have any hedgehogs. Yeah, the hedgehogs, they are pretty eerie. Because I think sometimes it's like when you hear the hedgehogs being fired, it might already be too late to actually avoid them.
Kommandant,
Haben
let
schon
them.
Schlimmeres überstanden. Lasst uns ruhig bleiben. Herr Kaloi, wir wurden von SD geortet.
Again, yeah, we are being pinged, but as long as they are not passing overhead. Yeah, right. That was what I had in the back of my mind, that it actually only absorbs carbon dioxide and not emits any oxygen. So maybe the effect of the potassium absorbers is a little bit overemphasized in the game. That's my guess. Because now we are on an air quality of 60%, and if we were now turning on the ventilation with the potassium absorbers in it and let it run for something like a minute or two, I think it would bring us back to 100% of air quality. And if yours and my theory is correct, that should not be possible if it just absorbs carbon dioxide. Yeah, I'm just thinking aloud. I'm not a chemist. Yeah, now we are getting water in. But just slowly. As long as the propeller and the drive shaft is just moving slowly, the rate of water seeping in through the gaskets of the drive shaft is relatively slow. But yeah, to reduce it, we could still go a little bit further upwards. Yeah, it cleans the air, but it should not. It should not. If we are like that, air quality 60%, I think you shouldn't be able to bring it back to 100% with the potassium absorbers. If it only absorbs carbon dioxide. Yeah, but let's not be too picky. I really love the mechanics of the game.
180 Meter. Herr Kaloi, wir wurden von SD geortet. 175 Meter.
Oh, I just see. I think I still have a little sip of wine left. Let's have it. But just a few drops. Like we say in DayZ, better than nothing. Cheers. It's just a sip.
175 Meter.
So we are making it very slowly towards that side where we think that maybe the T2 tanker is still sinking after all these hours. Hey Falcor, nice to have you in. How are you doing? You see us. Yeah, being about to evade these hunters. So we were quite successful in infiltrating that convoy many hours ago. Sank 3 ships, but now they really give us help. Yeah, I do, of course. In-game we are a little bit under pressure by all these escort ships chasing us, but well, that's part of the game, so I'm perfectly fine. How are you? Yeah. 3, 4, 5, 6. Still.
Korrekt. 175 Grad.
Yeah, Falcor, nice to have you in the chat. I think you haven't been showing up in the chat for a while. So always happy to get some feedback or just see people being around, caring to spend a few words.
Wir wurden von Hestig beobachtet.
Yeah, we have sunk 3 ships, and here you see the George P. Garrison and the Essex Hopkins that were both C3 ships that we sank, and the T2 tanker is not yet in the list. We didn't yet get accounted for that one, and that worries me a bit, but some time ago we actually had a sound signal of a sinking ship around where I marked that we roughly torpedoed that T2. Distance 2 miles. Yeah, bit more than 2 miles. And there is still another German submarine somewhere there, and it looks like it's still alive. They didn't yet manage to sink it. So what contacts do we have around? Yeah, still a lot of escorts, and that's the stationary one. This is the guy who seems to be sinking around there. Still sinking. Yeah, we did fire 9 torpedoes 3 torpedoes on each ship. And for 2 ships it was like 2 hits and 1 miss, which was sufficient to sink them, and 1 ship we actually had 3 hits. Yeah, some people say firing 3 torpedoes on a transport is a bit over the top, but well, I'm playing on almost maximum difficulty level, doing all the target calculations manually, so I do have to account for a bit of error margins. So I usually fire 1 ship at the very 1 torpedo at the very stern, 1 exactly to the center, and 1 at the very aft of the ship, bow and stern. 1 at the very bow, 1 at the center, and 1 at the very stern of the ship. And so usually then, even if my calculations, of the estimation of the distance, of the angle on bow, of the speed is maybe not quite correct, I usually then am sufficiently correct to score at least 1, usually 2, sometimes 3 torpedo hits. Let's give it a save, and now I wonder if I dare to do a little bit of time acceleration. Shall we? Yeah, we are being pinged again. There are ships closing in again. Okay, Mr. Grade, you look like you need a coffee. Sooner or later I'm gonna run out of coffee. After all these hours on battle station, my crew becomes quite exhausted. And what about the oxygen level? 57. So if they would drop depth charges on me again, I think I would turn on the ventilation for a few minutes, hoping that all the depth charges and their propellers would camouflage that terrible noise. "76 liters of water in the bilge," so we are going at low speed. Still, the drive shaft is turning, and we have slowly seeping in a bit of water via the drive shaft into the bilge. Hey, Mr. Grade, please attend to the engines again. I always want to be ready to go flank speed if necessary. Time now 7:30 in game. Propeller noises right above us. Then B2 quarters. They are not dropping anymore, but I don't know what the mechanics of the AI would be. Would they head back home or back to the convoy when they run out of depth charges? Or would they just stay around to help their colleagues detecting? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, still the 7 guys around. And I don't know, these guys chasing the other German submarine probably. But hey, come on. How long are you gonna plan to go after me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And none of them giving up.
Zerstörer. 175 Meter.
Yeah, graphics wise, it still looks like they do have hedgehogs left.
Wir wurden von SD geortet.
Okay, being pinged again. It doesn't make any difference.
Ich grad.
%56 of air quality.
Kommandant, feindliche Schiffe machen sich gefechtsbereit.
Das wird nicht einfach. Aber wir haben schon Schlimmeres überstanden. Lasst uns ruhig bleiben.
90 liters in the bilge. Yeah, we are heading straight for that side where we have the sinking noises with the hydrophone detected. So let's see if there is anything ahead.
Herr Kaloi, wir wurden von SD geortet.
53% air quality. Yeah, battery capacity is not an issue. 122 liters of water in the bilge.
Herr Kaloi, wir wurden von SD geortet.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloi?
Alright guys, so it is 2:30 around here by now. So I have to turn in. I have to get up. Yeah, not completely early, but I have to get up fairly early tomorrow, get to work. So allow me to call it a day for now, for today. It was a pleasure to have you. Colin, like usual, great to have you in. And Falcor, thank you very much for joining as well. So don't hesitate to drop in again once in a while. So let's see, I'm not 100% sure whether I'm gonna do a stream tomorrow, because I think I am gonna do a stream tomorrow. Yep, pretty sure I am. So looking forward to see you then. Let's give it a save. Finally, and bye bye. See ya.